Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, Nico Harrison is out as general manager of the Mavericks, but are more changes coming to Dallas? Meanwhile, we're still dealing with the fallout of a crazy night in the NBA, and Cade Cunningham did something that hasn't been done since Kobe Bryant. Let's jump in.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network, however you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we're talking about the fallout from a whiplash night in the NBA, plus whether Cade Cunningham channeling his inner Kobe Bryant is a good thing or a bad thing for the Pistons. And we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
How can you be so chipper? How can you be so cruel and chipper? Wes, do you know how much content we've lost today? Do you know how much great content we lost? That man provided us with 9 months of amazing content, and now he's just gone. He's just gone. How could they do this, Haize?
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize.
I'm a little bit disappointed by Matt's intro because when he put the hood up, I'm looking at Matt, pasty, bald. I thought he was going to go Emperor Palpatine. He went whiny fan. Like, what are we doing here, bro? I'm a little disappointed. Great intro, but I'm just a little disappointed, man.
It was giving Palpatine. It was giving Palpatine.
Giving Palpatine? Yeah, well. Okay, well, now I have more things to cry about just from that assessment.
We have a bunch to get to today, but let's start with the breaking news from this morning that Nico Harrison is out as GM of the Mavericks. This comes after the Mavs blew a 13-point fourth-quarter lead against the Milwaukee Bucks, and Mavericks fans responded again with fire Nico chants in Dallas. Here's Nick Angstadt, host of Locked On Mavericks, with more.
And I think this is the right move for the Dallas Mavericks. They needed to move on. They needed to move forward. This has been a mess. The Luka trade was a disaster and a fireable offense. You do not trade a top 4 player who's 25 years old, made 5 first-team All-NBAs before the age of 26, for a worse, older, more injured player in Anthony Davis, and only get 1 first-round pick and just Max Christie. Max Christie has been great this year as a role player, but it's a fireable offense. You cannot do that. You never decide, all right, I'm smarter than everybody else. And the Dallas Mavericks are now kind of reaping what they sowed with that trade, because now you're built around Kyrie Irving, who's injured as well, and Anthony Davis, who gets injured a lot too. And you're like, well, let's wait till these guys come back for injuries. We're going to be playing that hamster wheel for years probably.
So we talked yesterday about why the Mavericks needed to fire Nico Harrison. Now they have fired Nico Harrison. So now that it's done, Matt, what should be the next step to fix things in Dallas?
The next step should be trading Anthony Davis. Trade Anthony Davis, trade Daniel Gafford, trade Klay Thompson. Have a conversation with Kyrie Irving about what he wants. Kyrie might want to stay because this is the only organization where he's found like he's rehabbed his image here and they paid him. So he might want to stay. But I think you have that conversation about, hey, we're going to pivot to a rebuild. Do you want to stay? And he's probably, I would imagine Kyrie probably wants to go play competitive basketball somewhere else. So that's what you do. And you try and get back as many picks as you can. You trade Davis for as many picks as you can. You trade Gafford for a first-round pick. You trade Klay Thompson for what is probably going to be like a late, not very good, like top 20 protected first-round pick. You move on completely, and you try and build a young team. You try and target young players that can grow next to Flagg. Don't make the mistake of like Flagg so good you can win now. Don't make that mistake. Give him time to learn. Put a good team around him and let him develop. Keep Derek lively. Flagg lively. Find a point guard, and you'll be back to zero. It'll never undo the damage that was done ever, but you can at least give fans that have stuck around something to be excited about. That needs to be the next move.
I completely agree with Matt here. Daniel Gafford, you look at all the teams around the league that can use a center, one of them being Indiana, like one being Boston. Like you trade these players, you try to get what best you can. PJ Washington is a player that can help you. Wes, you had a great tweet where you said that they built a championship roster around Luka and then traded Luka. And that's just silly, right? But that means that you have pieces on this team that can legitimately help teams on championship runs. You stack all the assets you can, try to target young players with some experience that may be 1 or 2 years away from restricted free agency, just to add some type of experience, but still youth around Cooper Flagg. You just develop and take your medicine for the next couple of years. And if Cooper is who everybody thinks he's going to be, you could be right back at least contending for playoff spots in the Western Conference in 3 or 4 years.
Wes, can I ask a question?
Of course.
And I love your input on this. Let's say Davis comes back and Lively comes back and they actually turn this around and are pretty good. Okay. Let's say that they're not championship level. I think that was an unrealistic expectation. But let's say that they turn into like a playoff team. They turn this thing around. Like, yes, they're under 500. You win 6 games in a row and you're right back to even, right? They turn into like a pretty good team. Would that mean that it was wrong to fire Nico Harrison? Like, this is the one that's been bouncing around my head of like, what do you do if like you did this? I think it's really funny to fire him now after it's like, well, yeah, your 3 best players are out. Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, and Anthony Davis, who you built it. Like, Davis was the centerpiece of everything, and he's been out. It was like firing Michael Malone when Boogie had meningitis. It's like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense because you don't even know. The idea was that Davis was going to be pretty good. Now, they were not good with Davis before he got hurt. And I think that weighs in here. Nick's talked about that as well. But like that question, I think is really interesting. Is like, I could see it be in a situation where we look back and we're like, you know what? Like, they are actually pretty good. Oh, well, nonetheless, because like he had just made things so toxic. But that question to me is really fascinating. Is like, will it have been wrong to fire Nico if the team is pretty good?
Yeah, to go back to your DeMarcus Cousins comparison, right? It's not exact. It would have been more like had Michael Malone been responsible for trading LeBron James for DeMarcus Cousins, and then DeMarcus Cousins got meningitis. It was just, and you said it yesterday, and I think it was exactly right. Every Mavericks loss was also punctuated with, and we also traded Luka Doncic, and had we not done it, we probably don't lose this game. Which who knows if that's real or not, but that's sort of the sentiment among Mavericks fans. I think more important than anything, more important than wins and losses, more important than even having Cooper Flagg, is just confidence in the guy that's calling the shots, the person calling the shots for your front office, confidence in that direction. And clearly Mavericks fans had not had that basically since the Luka trade. And now Patrick Dumont reportedly hadn't had it either. What's really interesting about this, guys, is that Mark Stein reported right before we started recording here that Dumont came to the decision to fire Nico before the game and had reportedly done it in conjunction in a meeting prior to tip-off, 2 hours before tip-off, with Rick Welts, who is part of that front office, and Mark Cuban, who is not the owner of that team anymore and does not have a real role with that organization. So that's the other part of this is, okay, Dumont, who clearly signed off on this Luka Doncic trade, doesn't really know much about basketball in the year of 2025, is bringing in a guy who has a guy on staff like Rick Welts, who spent a lot of time with the Warriors and with the NBA front office and has a long, long history in the NBA, clearly knows what he's kind of doing in the NBA sphere of things. And Mark Cuban, like, who's going to be in charge now that Nico Harrison is out and in charge of kind of hiring the next Nico Harrison?
Yeah, and they're hiring, they're promoting Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi as co-GMs to lead basketball operations, which is actually working in Denver to have 2 guys. I trust Finley though. I think hiring Finley is like a really good move, Haize. Like, he's a guy that's a Mavs staple. The fans can feel a lot better about Michael Finley in charge.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine to have him in charge. I think that overall, you just need a direction. You know, and they picked, well, they were on that path. Like, you getting Cooper helped that make a more clear direction to you. But this thing that Nico Harrison was trying to sell people on is still contending and being a championship team because you had Anthony Davis. We all knew that was BS the moment we heard it. The fault in trading Luka wasn't just trading Luka. It was the fact that you didn't put yourself in a situation to where if you were going to trade a player like that, you got the most assets back, the most return back for your team to help set you up for a future. It just all seemed aimless. And I think that now with having somebody who has a general direction on exact and view on where they want this team to go, they're going to be better for it, much better for it.
Haize, there are some young pieces on this roster, though, right, that are good. I mean, obviously you have Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively, if he could stay healthy. Max Christie is playing well. He's sort of become a punchline here. He is playing well for them. Najee Marshall coming off the bench. There's some young players on this Mavericks team that you could build with.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some players on the team that you can build with. Even I forgot the name of the player that Jaden Hardy that they still have on the team. He's a guy that, in that draft, I think has a lot of upside. Now, I don't know if he's going to end up turning to just a rotational player or something else, but now with a new direction, you can develop those guys and see who's going to turn into. It's going to take some time, but they do have some young talent on this roster.
The guy I feel worse for is PJ Washington, who was stuck in Charlotte and was like toiling away. And then he goes to Dallas, and he was the reason they made it to the finals that year, was his performance versus OKC. And he's been phenomenal this year. PJ's been so good. And it's hard to be good on that Mavericks team. And he's been great. And now he's just kind of stuck there. And I don't know what happens with him, but if they do pivot, man, get PJ on a good team, because that guy's a winner.
If we were doing winners and losers of this segment, losers, Matt Moore for not getting the Nico Harrison content anymore. Winners, fan chants, just in general. Fire Nico. It worked. Congrats to the Dallas Mavericks fans. You did it. Monday night might have been a turning point for the Orlando Magic as well as the Dallas Mavericks. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. Let's check the odds on some stuff here. Here's one. You could still get Dallas for under 35.5 wins on FanDuel. Could be a good time to get in early in case the Dallas Mavericks make some dramatic changes to the roster. Say they trade Anthony Davis. Maybe they tell Kyrie Irving, hey, man, don't rush back. It's fine. We're not really playing for anything here. A Davis trade and a Kyrie not return could be all you need to hit the under. Heck, you might not even need those things. They could still hit the under. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's episode is also brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no at Mint Mobile. Their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and your contacts. I love that you're getting the same quality service that you had before, but for a fraction of the price. The setup is super easy. You keep your number, and then you're running in minutes. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We are recording this on the afternoon after a wild night in the NBA that saw multiple game winners, buzzer beaters, dramatic shots in the final seconds. I was in Miami where Donovan Mitchell hit an impossible three-pointer to tie the game, but left just enough time, 0.4 seconds, for Andrew Wiggins to make a game-winning dunk off of an inbound play. In Chicago, Haize, Victor Wembanyama made a pull-up three to tie the game, contested a shot at the other end, and then hit a sidestep three to win the game, all in the final 60 seconds of that game. In Detroit, we had Danish Jenkins hit a corner three with 1.9 seconds to go to force overtime, where the Pistons eventually got the win. And then in Orlando, Desmond Bane hit a game-winning three at the buzzer to beat the Celtics. Here's more from Philip Rossman-Reich over at Locked On Magic.
It has been a frustrating start, and no player has frankly exemplified these frustrations quite like Desmond Bane. I'm not going to sit here and tell you after a 115-112 win that everything is solved. I'm not going to tell you that it's all fixed. There is still so much work to do. But as Desmond Bane put it after the game, moments like this can build momentum, can reveal character, can be a turning point for a team.
Haize, which one of these crazy endings meant more for their team going forward?
Man, I honestly, hopefully this is a sign that Desmond Bane is going to start shooting better, right? I would say that the Magic need wins. They need some momentum, and it's good to have. But I still go back to the Pistons. This Pistons team is a team that I really believe in. And unfortunately, Cade Cunningham had to take, 45 shots last night? 45 shots from Cade Cunningham is ridiculous, but it still came down to a last-minute shot from one of the role players on that team. So I'd say mix between the Magic and the Pistons. I'll lean more heavily towards the Pistons because this is a team I really, really want to believe in.
We led with Pistons last night on game night when I was on with Nick, because like it was actually leading a lot of the various sites in terms of what people were interested in talking about because Cade's big performance. But like, it's the Wizards. It like great job by Cade for fishing him out with a Kobe performance, but like it's the Wizards here. And I actually, Wes, shockingly, I'm gonna go contrarian here. The biggest one was Miami. Miami, no Bam, no Tyler Hero. Norman Powell not only was great offensively, but was like into that game playing great defense, hyping up the crowd, getting into teammates. Like it was awesome to see Norman Powell last night. And for them to find a way to win that game, Davion Mitchell, 8 assists, by the way. This Heat team is like, this is going to be a top 4 seed. Like, this is going to be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, this Miami Heat team. They are so good. Now, like, if Bam's out for the year, okay, maybe. But, like, have they announced what Bam's deal is yet, Wes?
It's day-to-day, which technically you could miss the full year.
Yes, technically. So, like, they're going to be fine. This team is really good. This Heat team is a team that you should watch. They're fun to watch, and you should believe in. And is proof that everything gets better once Jimmy Butler takes off.
Third game in 4 nights for the Miami Heat. That was a tough rest game, one of those kind of schedule losses. It's the first of a 2-game, one of these like baseball series things. They played the Cavaliers at home again on Wednesday night. They could have walked into that game and just said, yeah, this one's going to be tough. Third game in 4 nights. We're kind of tired. As long as we split, we're pretty much good. Let's just make sure we get the one on Wednesday. But they did not. They did not do that. I thought that was a huge game for the Heat, Matt. You mentioned it, like no Bam, no Tyler, and to still come away with that one. Beautiful inbound play, by the way, to set up that Wiggins dunk. It was a cool like elevator doors action where Norm Powell splits the elevator doors. Everybody looks at Powell, and then Wiggs just goes the other way. It turns into this back screen with Davion screening off Hunter, and the Wiggins just wide open at the basket. Beautiful play design. Spo said he's had that call on his call sheet for 4 years.
Elevators into a split action lob. And the lob was perfect, absolutely phenomenal. And Haize, Dean Wade was the one that lost the assignment coverage. Broke my heart. Just a sad day.
Yeah, I mean, Dean Wade can't win them all there, Matt. You're going to be on the right side of history more than not. Like Dean Wade's good, but no, it was just a great play. It was great offense, and the Miami Heat just continue like that. Offense is really, really special. I wonder how. Like Wes, let me throw to you. How confident are you in their defense from what you've seen so far this season?
Defensively, they're not bad. They're still top 5, I think, in defensive rating. I haven't checked the stats this morning, but they were, I think, 4th in defensive rating.
They're better. See, this is what's interesting. They're better on defense than they are on offense.
Correct.
That's crazy.
So here's the thing with the Heat.
They dropped to 7th in defensive rating, but that's still better than where they are offensively.
4th schedule adjusted, buddy. They are fast, a fast defensive team, which always keeps you on your heels, which lets them set their half-court defense. Like, this is a very unconventional model. Almost all fast-paced teams are offensively centric. The Heat are actually like wearing you out. You have to guard them so quickly on every single possession. You don't have as much energy on the offensive end. It's a really counter way to think about it, but they've got a lot of upside, I think, with their offense, especially with Hero and Bam out. But they're a much better defensive team than an offensive team. They're just playing at an absolutely breakneck speed, number 1 in the league.
They haven't been healthy all year. Obviously, Tyler Hero's out. Norm Powell missed a bunch of times, a bunch of games. Bam is currently out, so we'll see what this team looks like even when it's healthy. But right now, they're clearly got something going. I think still Haize, to your point, This was such a relief for the Orlando Magic to get this game winner and for Bane to be the guy to hit that shot at the end. It just felt like that team needed something good to happen to them. They're like your buddy that just like can't get a job and just like his girlfriend just broke up with him and you're like, dude, you just need a break. And then he gets a call out of nowhere and it's like offering him a job. That's sort of what happened with the Orlando Magic. They just needed something good to happen, and you hope this could maybe change the vibes there for them in Orlando. But we were talking about Cade Cunningham putting up Kobe type of stat lines. He actually did join Kobe Bryant in the record books. We're going to tell you about that here in a second on Locked On NBA Daily. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees at checkout. Plus, I could see exactly what my view looked like before I bought the tickets in their app with their seat view feature. Plus, their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Today's episode is also brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Check out the Locked On Magic, Locked On Pistons, Locked On Heat, Locked On Cavs that went in depth on a Darius Garland injury that we didn't talk about there in that last segment. Check out Locked On Mavericks, of course, for the latest fallout after Nico Harrison was fired as general manager. Before we look ahead to tonight's games, I want to share a stat with you guys. Cade Cunningham took 45 shots last night. He made 14 of them. That means he missed 31 shots in that game. He became the first player to miss 30-plus shots in a game since Kobe Bryant did it in 2002. Both of those games went to overtime, but the only difference is that Cade's team won that game. Here's Khalil with more from what's going on with Detroit.
This many shots missed can't happen all the time. It's not going to happen again. He'll never miss 30 shots again. But in a game like this, when you are without everyone, and you are the only offense, you are the only creator, everyone's relying on you to get this win. Cade went out there and emptied the clip, kept shooting, and impacted the game in every other way possible while emptying the clip, while having zero stamina, and pulled this win out for the Detroit Pistons. One of the best, bad, good, great, or horrible game I have ever seen in my life. I have never seen anything like this before.
Haize, good, bad, great, horrible, unforgettable. What was that game from Cade?
Yes. A little bit of everything. Like, I think he had 32 shots in like the first half or something like that. I was just like, what is happening today in the NBA? But no, it was still, he made some big shots when he needed to. The team clearly needed somebody to try to get them going offensively at some point in time. And while it wasn't the most efficient night by any stretch of the imagination, Cade is going to have just the willingness to do that when your team needs it, because clearly somebody needed to do it. It shows a lot about Cade Cunningham. Now, I would like to see a better efficiency from it, but Koo makes a great point. He's not going to miss that many shots in a game ever again in his career. He should probably also never take that many shots again ever in his career again in the game. But I'm a Cade Cunningham fan, and it pains me to say anything positive about the Detroit Pistons, but I just love watching Cade Cunningham play basketball.
No Jaden Ivey, no Asar Thompson, no Tobias Harris. By the way, shout out Dennis Jenkins from the Motor City Cruise, their G League affiliate. Two-way player coming in huge last night. He was actually the reason they won that game. Cade wasn't Kobe last night. He wasn't, because Cade actually went 5 of 9 from mid-range outside the paint. He missed all these shots in the paint. These are all good looks. These are floaters and layups that he is going to make. He missed 18 shots in the paint, guys. 18 shots in the paint. Missed 9 from the outside. He was missing from the most efficient areas on the floor. He was still creating good shots. He was just missing them. So I honestly, when I went back and watched Cade and was like, were you just like pull up Haize every single time versus defenders? No, it was actually pretty good stuff. Really, it's a testament to how good this Washington defense can be when it puts itself together.
Yeah, I mean, like once, especially whenever they do get Jaden Ivey back, which I think is really important. Tobias Harris was a really good veteran for them. This Detroit Pistons team is going to be dangerous. I mean, I fully believe it. And maybe this is just me buying into the hype too much, but this is a team that's well coached. Jalen Duren is playing some of the best defense. I know a lot of people have made a lot about his offense, and understandably so, but he's finally seems like he's gotten it together defensively. And like I said on yesterday's show when we talked about it, if you have a point guard and a center that are playing together and in rhythm well and have really good chemistry together, that right alone is the backbone of having a solid team overall. You got role players that fit. And then once Jaden Ivey comes back and he's that guy that scores kind of outside of what the offense likes to do when they need a bucket, I think this team could be really good.
Yeah, to go back to your point, Matt, about all the shots that Cade missed in the paint. Here's the for people watching on YouTube, the shot chart I'm putting up on the screen. It's a lot of red right there by the basket. That's pretty insane. And Koo actually made the point on his show on Locked On Pistons that this should have been like a 65-point game for Cade Cunningham, and we should be kind of talking about this a little bit differently. And by the way, it would have never went to overtime against the Wizards in this one. But an awesome night overall for Cade Cunningham. I just like that he took 45 shots. This was kind of more of a, he's not a pure point guard. He was sort of like that tweener scorer point guard guy kind of coming out of Oklahoma State, but nobody ever thought volume scorer for this guy. But the fact that he's doing that shows sort of this alpha type of Mamba mentality thing that I think is good for Cade Cunningham, and it's the kind of thing that we're seeing more from him this season. That said, 45 shots, probably too many.
If it's not who you are, it's great to do that. If it is who you are, you probably shouldn't.
Right. If this was Cam Thomas, it would be like, dial it back.
Right.
Steph Curry set to make his return tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder after missing the last 3 Warriors games with an illness. Haize, can the Warriors hand the Thunder their second loss of the season with Steph back in the lineup?
Absolutely, they can. I mean, there's a chance of it. I wouldn't give them a high probability of doing it, but one thing that I've learned over the last decade plus is never cut out Steph Curry. Never Steph. If Dre's healthy, you got Jimmy. Like, never count him out. And with Kerr coaching, they always have a chance. I'll say, I'll put my money where my mouth is. They have a 28% chance of beating the OKC Thunder today.
Okay. Now I like want to run what that actually translates to as far as like when we translate the spread. What does that actually mean? I give them a 22% chance actually by 21% chance. 21.8. So I will give them slightly less. They are I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think this Warriors team is good. I think they could be good. I don't think they're great. I don't think that they're like a contender. And it's funny because they got off to that hot start and everybody's like, the Warriors! And then like now lot of concerning comments coming out of that locker room now. Like little bit of like, we are not doing the thing. Jimmy Butler's having to defend the coaching staff. What happens with Steph back, but this to me feels like another Thunder just complete the demolition because that's who the Thunder have been for the last 2 seasons.
So Haize puts it at 28%. Matt has it at 22%. I'll split the difference and give him a 25% chance of winning this. And this whatever segment this is, we'll see what happens. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.